Well, hello and welcome back to the Town Manifesting Tarot. This is the tarot reading for serious-minded people. Not for the people who go to tarot for the lollipops and rainbows kind of readings. I've done tarot for over 20 years. I have never, ever found on a consistent basis, on a reliable basis, on any kind of a basis at all, that tarot predicted anything. And after 20 years, I've come to understand that tarot is not meant to predict anything. It is the science of potential. Okay? Why? Because we're talking about energy. And where tarot is monumentally helpful is helping you to manifest. Why? Take a look at your screen. 4 tarot cards, the card in the middle, we call it the Oracle card. You visually see the cards. I keep the reading absolutely bare bones basic because I want you to focus on the message. You don't need to see me. I'm an old man. I'm not attractive. Nobody would give a damn. End of story. No point distracting you or putting my ego on the line. It accomplishes nothing. And there's no point in doing a lot of animation with the cards because once you get into video motion, your brain switches. You stop thinking and you start receiving. You get it? The energy's different. If you're using your imaginations, if you're creating the pictures, the scenes in your head, the information is coming from you going out to the world. If you're looking at a screen with action and stuff, all kinds of visuals on it, you're absorbing the stuff coming in off the screen. It limits you. That's the reason why Bill Gates and Steve Jobs and other of the high-tech power guys never let their kids go to schools that lean on computers. In fact, Steve Jobs was really tough with his kids. He only gave them an hour in the evening to maybe like play some video games, that kind of stuff. That was it. Bill Gates, very much the same. And I've heard stories about other tech people who controlled the amount of interaction their children had with tech. Once they got into high school and primarily the last 2 years, juniors, seniors, they would allow that to expand because their mind had developed enough to a point and their self-image had developed enough to a point to where they could minimize the intrusion of those images coming from the screen into you. I want the energy opposite. I want you creating the energy within yourself and putting it out into the world. That's what manifesting is all about. And we do it. We do it every single day, but it's negative. I don't want this. I don't want that. I don't. And you look at your life and you go, God, what a shithole. Well, guess what? You have helped set up that frequency. You have helped manifest that frequency. What you were afraid of, you brought to you. Just how it works. Now we got to get you to flip. But to do that, to create a positive manifestation, we have to deal with reality. Woo, that's a scary topic. Most people will avoid reality because what does that mean? Well, you got to be adult, you got to be mature, you got to be responsible. Don't want any of that stuff in my life. Not me, boy. Well, then you get the life that you want. Now, let me explain something right away. My life isn't perfect. Some days suck. Some days are pretty good. I live right on Lake Superior. You get a sunny day in the summertime. You even get a sunny day in the wintertime. And sometimes I'm walking around, there's a little, really tiny 2-lane road that goes right along the edge of the lake. I walk about 5 miles every day when the weather allows, especially in the wintertime, because sometimes it can get, bitter with that wind coming in off of Lake Superior. And so I generally will avoid those days. Other than that, I'm out there pretty much every day. And in the wintertime, sometimes we're having, snow coming in off the lake effect stuff. It's coming down heavily. People are deciding to stay in. There's nobody on the road. It's a tiny little road. You got pine trees and stuff all over. It's gorgeous. And of course, you can imagine what it must be like in the summertime. Alrighty. So it's a situation where my life isn't perfect, but I'm manifesting and working every day. And that's the key. Matthew McConaughey tells the story very often about when he was much younger, probably late teens, maybe very, very early 20s. He decided, for whatever reason, to write down what he wanted in his life. 2, 3, 4 things, something like that. Wrote them down, thought them out. And he did it, by the way, not printing, not typing, but by hand. Okay? Script, it's called. That's really important in terms of connecting with your mind, your imagination. Very powerful. Scripting. The actual handwriting. Anyway, he did that. And then he put it away in a place that he thought he could always go back and refer to. Well, like all of those places, I'm going to put it here because I'm never going to forget. What do? You forget. It's like, I remember I did that. Where the hell did I put it? I don't know. I can't remember. Well, about 20 years later, he said he's getting ready to move. He had moved several times, but getting ready to move into his, at that point, primary main house. He was a star, established, and so. And in the move, guess what? He found that paper with all those goals on it. And he looked at it, and he had achieved just about every one of them. That's how manifesting works. It can be real quick. I mean, you've seen that in your life where you go, I don't want this. Like a magnet, there it is. But the good stuff can happen that fast as well. So to do this, we have to be serious. We have to be focused. I don't want to throw a lot of shit in front of you that you get distracted by. 4 cards, 1 oracle card, that's it. Now, I've done, as I said, tarot for over 20 years. It's the science of potential. To help you with that picture, I also lean on my numerology and astrology. I've done those things for over 50 years, 50. Those two things are the sciences of cycles. Cycles within cycles within cycles within cycles. I mean, it gets crazy. Problem is, most astrologers, and myself included, have a virtually impossible time of just sifting through the crap and digging into the cycles and pulling out the essentials so that you have a story. What astrologers normally do is, well, you got the moon over here, it's in this house here, and you got the quincunx, and you got this, and it's just a vial of shit that doesn't mean anything, least of which would be the people who are listening to you. They're not familiar with the vernacular, and if you don't even know what the hell you're talking about, if you can't even tie the pieces together successfully into a story, which is how people learn, not with data, with storylines, then if you can't do that for yourself, you ain't going to do it for them. So what I will do is use the numerology and astrology as kind of a foundational thing. And I've done that already. For example, I talked about the planets being in a certain position, July 4th, 1776. Well, that's Pluto and Neptune, and it takes about 250 years or so for them to get into an aspect. I'm not going to talk about all of it. But they're essentially in a similar relationship now to what they were back then. And most especially Pluto and Uranus. Uranus is revolution, Pluto is evolution. You put those two together in 1776, here they are again now, almost 250 years later. Guess what? We're in the same position. We're on the verge of evolution with revolution. I mean, it's just the same kind of energies that made us form the United States are here right now. I think the United States, without doubt, is going to have to reform, reshape, something. We're going to have to rebirth it. We can't continue. Yesterday I was talking about certain kinds of energies because you get Pluto and Neptune meeting, or conjuncting as it's called in astrology. They meet, they touch, they're in the same degree, same sign, every 500 years. So it really gets to be kind of interesting because look at the year 920. That's when the Byzantine Empire, the ones that controlled the whole Oriental part of the world, and the Roman Empire kind of joined forces for the first time. That changed the world order, created a new world order. 992. Of Go 500 years to 1492, what happens? Spain invades the Western world. Spain conquers North, Central, South America. Changed the plan. So 920, you got empires joining. 1492, 1490, 500 years later, 1492, Spain takes over the New World, and you go to 1992, 500 years after that, you see George Bush Sr. talking about a new world order. It's those similarity of energies. That's the reason I bring in the astrology, not to confuse you or confound you, but add to the storyline. That's the energy. Empires joining, Spain taking on the new world, George Bush talking about a new world order. The energy is the same, and the astrology forecasts it. Doesn't predict it, forecasts it. So now, let's take the tarot frequency, the energy, see how you can apply it on that kind of a foundation, historical foundation. So today we have the middle card, the oracle card, Milk and Honey. In ancient times, biblical and farther back, living in a land of milk and honey, you could live off of milk and honey. They were not processed, they were whole, they were unpasteurized, they were organic, they were powerhouses. And you could literally live on milk and honey. And in fact, it was considered to be the ultimate. If you live in a land of milk and honey, you have plenty. It's boundless. Well, that's what we're talking about here, milk and honey. Is that way your world feels like? Not mine. Number up in the right-hand corner, 51. 5 is change. 1 is a new beginning. That's what we're talking about. Remember all these things about the new world order, about the the evolution, revolution, that kind. This is where we are. This is the energy. We want to live in a so-called land of milk and honey. Is it going to be a perfect world? No. Life is not perfect. Never was, never will be. We got shit in ourselves we have to deal with that we reflect out to the world. But it can be a whole lot better for everybody. All we got to do is make a shift in mentality. That's the tough part. And that's why I tie in the 1776 meeting of Pluto and Uranus. Evolution, revolution, and it's here now. You know what you're facing. So milk and honey, we want real nourishment, not just for our body, for our spirits. Here's the meme for today. When you give the power to someone to feed you, you give them the same power to starve you. That is what we have done in society, not just in terms of food. That's coming. Hunger Games. Believe me, you take a look at your store, take a look at the prices. That's coming. And they've already told you, they get their system, they're going to tell you what you can eat and how much of it you can eat. But more than simply food, when you give the power to someone to feed you, to nourish you, to help you make your life better in a general term, you also give them the power to take it away. And they've done that with technology. All they got to do is flip a switch, which they can do electronically. That's why they want us in electric cars. That's why they want electric refrigerators, electric stoves, electric this, electric that, electric. All it takes is one algorithm. Boom, you lost it. And you ain't getting it back till you behave. That's not a land of milk and honey. That's for sure. So let's go all the way to the left. Let's kind of lay out this frequency thing. King of Cups. Cups are an emotional connection. Don't have to be romantic. It just means that some person, place, idea you have a relationship with, and it's generally an emotionally positive, supportive relationship. That's what we're after. The King of Cups is saying, this is the prize. This is the goal, that land of milk and honey. But the next card, 5 of Pentacles, which we've been seeing a lot of in the past readings over the past couple of weeks. Here's this person. They got this, as I've said every time, in other cards you can see that this is a church. He's out in the cold, in the snow. He has a bad leg. He has he's poorly dressed. He could go into this building with the lights on, because that's a window. He'd go in there, and he could at least sleep on a pew, stay warm. Or maybe someone would feed him, give him supper or something. But he doesn't do it because he's not worthy of real nourishment. That land of milk and honey, not for him. Yet it's right there. It's right there. You see the window. Next card over is the Five of Swords. Swords are thoughts, ideas, beliefs. The Five says you have a hollow victory. What you've done is sacrificed your integrity as a human being. Going back to the meme, when you give somebody the power to feed you, you give them the power to starve you. That's what this Five of Swords is all about. Okay, so I'm hanging in there. I'm surviving. Just barely, but I'm surviving. No, Bubba, you lost the battle a long time ago. Now it's just the slow grind out. Very shallow, hollow victory. Meaningless victory. Purposeless victory. It's absolutely your integrity has been bought and sold, or sold and bought. Boom. You don't own it anymore. You're not a human being. You're not worth it. What's going to make the difference is you to reconnect with your life. That's the Ace of Wands. Wands are positivity, excitement, joy, enthusiasm, gratitude. It's courage. That's what it's going to take. We're talking about this land of milk and honey where you get real nourishment, not just for your body, but your soul. But you've given away that power. How many people are disconnected? Well, I don't know, food is in the store, so I can... You friggin' moron. It grows somewhere. Somebody grows something, and I would not ever trust Bill Gates to have anything to do with my food supply. You're seeing Bill Gates, the rich, China, buying up all the extra farmland they can get their hands on. Why? Because they can starve you. How about this fog, this chemtrail stuff? They know there are loads of heavy metals and poisons, some even nuclear poisons in those chemtrails. And when they hit the ground, they destroy the earth. Literally, they change the pH so that things won't grow. Kills whatever is there. Why? To starve you. It's time to pull your head out of your ass and to go, okay, I want something better. I want that land of milk and honey. I know it's not going to be perfect, but I want real nourishment. When I bite into that piece of wheat, I don't want to taste glyphosate. I don't want it to kill me. I don't want artificial oranges or apples or bananas. I don't want lab-grown meat. I want the real deal. I want real nourishment. But we've given up the power to feed ourselves. Starvation. You can make a difference. You can make a difference. Be optimistic. Have gratitude. Manifest gratitude. Manifest a better image for you. Manifest a place of milk and honey. Pretty heavy-duty task, but you can do it. That's the reading for today. Back again tomorrow with another Tao Manifested Tarot reading. Hope you're here with me because I'm here every single day. I'm here because I want to encourage you, inspire you. So between now and the next time you and I have a chance to get together and do tarot, this version of it anyway, this extra plus version, peace and blessings.